everyone, this is Genesis. I'm coming back to you with another video about Vcom AI, and I'm doing two videos in one day here because I actually got a day off from work due to the snow here in Colorado, and I got some time to myself, and I figured might as well go ahead and do another video. I just did one about the performance of Vcom, and now I'm going to do one about how Zeus works. I had a lot of people still confused if Zeus worked well with Vcom or not. And I like to argue that it is definitely really doable, and it works fairly well. I know in the earlier versions it did not, and I understand that, but I guess I'll make a video to kind of dispel some of the myths about that. And so I can even just post this video and people bring that up again because I'm getting tired of it, hearing about it. And so I'm going to just launch in. Actually, I'm going to explain a little bit how AI find cover and how its system works. And because it's always good to give other people's ideas and see how that works and can go from there. So I'm going to go really quickly through a lot of these because there are, I don't say it's complex, but there's a lot to it, which is why it can be kind of hard to tweak. So there's three scripts we're going to look at: remove in combat, fragment move, and find cover position. Now, it all starts in this FSM here. So when the AI get into combat, they're part of their brain, the combat brain is what I call it, gets eventually to this position where it says move, move, move. And this essentially does a couple checks to make sure that if their speed movement isn't set to full, and they haven't moved recently, that they will essentially execute this script. And this script makes them move in combat. It says Vcom AI move in combat. This is how I get them to move from cover to cover. What that script is, so once they're in combat and they get into cover, this is what's happening. So first, this is a big long script. I'm just going to kind of breeze through it really quickly because it's a mess, because there's a lot of changes that always happen to this damn thing. The most complex part of Vcom probably. So we have this essentially we just pull the unit right in the beginning. We just pull the unit that this is running on, and then we do a check to make sure that there's not too many units already running this script, this function, because this is a very heavy function because it deals with finding cover positions, which is kind of a tedious process in Arma. For so far that I've found, they might have a better way now. So we pull all these variables because if the AI are currently garrisoned, we don't want them to execute the script. If they already have done this script recently, we don't want them to do it. If they move recently for cover, this used to be for something else, like they got shot and they needed to move for cover, the script would execute. If they're already in cover, we don't need to move this or use the script. And if they can visually see an enemy, maybe they should move for cover if they have a good, jump on them. If they're actively clearing a house, we don't want to execute this. Or if they started inside a building, we don't want to execute the script. Or if they just recently fired within the last 15 seconds or so, which I just realized this might not be the best, they shouldn't be moving either. See, now I'm thinking about this one, if this one's a good idea or not. I might reduce this down to like, if they fired within like the last 3 seconds or so, then they can execute the script. Okay. So essentially, the first check it does, if the squad leader is farther than 60 meters away, they just try to regroup. That's all this is for. They try to regroup. They go back to vanilla behavior. They try to regroup with the leader. Okay, and then this big complicated mess is essentially the group leader executes per AI group. They try to figure out where the closest enemy is. Okay, and then they decide from there what to do here. And what they do here is they take into account their waypoint. This is underscore pause. Here is the waypoint, where the nearest known enemy is, and where the current unit is, and they do a fragment move. They execute the script called fragment move. Now, this is a pretty vital part of this function. What this does is, this is a tiny little function. All the function does is it takes the unit, the current waypoint position, the nearest enemy, and they move. They take the unit position and the waypoint position, and they find the direction to that waypoint. And then they simply go, well, if the unit is less than 100 meters, and I might make this 150. If the enemy is less than 150 meters, we're only going to move around 25 meters away for cover. If the enemy is greater than that, then we'll move 75 meters for cover. This is give or take. This is kind of like a base value. And then what it does, it takes all this information, takes a unit position, the distance they want to move, and then direction, and it finds the relative position of that. So it kind of relatively puts like a random marker. Like say if they're told to move south, they'll go 75 meters south for cover while in combat, and they will begin the search for cover. I think exactly what they do. They call this find cover position script here, and this is the script that is probably the biggest hitter here. What this script does is it searches for what I call weak cover and good cover. Weak cover is concealment. So I have a function that goes through that point we gave it. So remember this position point here, that's roughly wherever they want to go. It takes that and a random radius around it. It tries to find a good position to move to. And it removes roads, so roads don't count as cover. It takes all the nearest objects around that position within 30 meters. And it considers, okay, let's look at all the types of cover. Now it does a check. It does bounding box real check, and what that means is if it's above a certain height, if it's above 2 meters on either side, height, width, and length, I believe it will consider as hard cover. If it doesn't, it's considered weak cover. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. And then it takes the list. The AI will always prefer hard cover over concealment if possible. And so they'll look for that first. If there's none of those available, this function literally just exits and the AI gets told just to move, because they're in an open field or something of that sort. Okay. And then this function right here takes that object, say it finds an object, it picks a random object that's hard cover. It tries to find a spot that would be cover towards the enemy. Okay. And that it tries its best guess of where to go, where to be. And then it tries to find a good direction that's away from the enemy, that's in a good spot. And that's essentially what you're going to get. So there's a lot of there that needs to be improved, but what we're looking for now is just the Zeus improvements and how the players can control Zeus. So we're going to load it up. I'm going to enable Zeus immediately, and I'm going to kind of do a little tiny scenario here. As soon as Zeus is enabled, it will let me hop in. There we go. So let's just go up here. I'm going to put down a blue 4 group. Now, the complaints used to be, and it used to be very true, mind you, that when the AI went into combat mode, you pretty much just lost control of the AI. Whoops. So let's go ahead and put an Alpha 4 squad in the woods. Blue 4 squad here, who they're immediately going to go into staggered column. And I'm going to tell them to attack this Alpha 4 squad. Now, it used to be before that you would lose control, AI would generate AO points, and you'd be done. It's like you just couldn't control it anymore. You just hope for the best. Well, that's not so much true anymore. Now you can see with a destroy waypoint, and it's something I want to point out, a lot of people don't know, if you just use move waypoints and you just have one, I think one or two, no, yeah, if you just have one move waypoint, the AI will generate more waypoints. If you give them 2 move waypoints, they won't generate any more waypoints until they're completed. If you give them any special waypoints besides move waypoints, they won't generate any more waypoints. So this destroy waypoint, they're just going to go straight there to destroy whatever you told them to. They're not going to dance around it. Something a lot of people don't recognize anymore. So say I don't want them to move up anymore to the AI. I just want them to, for one, I don't want them to go into combat mode like this. This is taking way too long. So let's go ahead and just do aware and stand. And you always want to give them a couple seconds to kind of regain their footing. And these AI back here will eventually actually move. It just will take some time. You can see the AI will actually wait for them to kind of catch back up. And there they go. Look at that. Wow, and they're still that destroy waypoint. Well, maybe I want them to move back over here now. Look at that, they're moving back. Look at that shit. Now go back attack. And I don't want you to use any Vcom cover system. I want to bypass these three scripts altogether, so I'm going to just set you to full speed. And you'll just go back, eventually maybe 20 or 30 seconds, you'll go back to vanilla behavior of moving. These guys are kind of sitting and watching and covering. These guys are just going to keep going because they were just told, okay, he wants to go full speed. These guys will eventually catch up. It just takes time. That's one thing. That's one negative. It does take time for the scripts to catch back up. But eventually these guys will move as well. So this guy's watching the back. Watching the back. Two different directions being watched. And then they're using just default vanilla AI behavior for moving around. And now I want them to move back this way. I want them to be safe, normal, and stand. Safe, normal, and stand. Cool. Safe, normal. Oh, waypoints don't have that. Okay, safe and normal. You can see they turn right back around. So you can see they went to line formation because they were going up a hill. That's funny. So you can kind of see that how that works. Why? Oh, that's the waypoint. I was like, who? I thought this line here was a soldier. Nope, it's just a waypoint. So there they go. And then maybe I want them to go to full. Is there a safe full? Oh. Let's go to aware and full. There they go. So you can see you have a lot more control. Now, where this might change a little bit, which is also true with vanilla AI, but where this changes definitely with Vcom is, let me give a scenario where, let's see, the AI engage. I want to put the blue 4, whoops, I'm going to put them right here. Right here. I'm going to take the off-4 group over here, up on this hill. And I think they can see and shoot up. Maybe move blue 4 up a little bit, like right here. So I'm going to tell these guys to shoot these guys. And I don't know if they'll be able to. They will. Okay. So they're going to shoot immediately at blue 4 here. And I'm going to wait for blue 4 to. Fuck. I keep moving them. Wait for them to kind of wake up. Oh, they went into combat mode, so they're aware now. And, you know, I'm going to tell them to go this way. And I want them to just to run. So you can see they ran for cover, VCOM cover there. I'm gonna try to put them to aware. I don't think they're gonna stick to aware because they're under combat right now. And it's actually a vanilla behavior. They'll just keep swapping back. But I can say, okay, I want you guys to fall back this way. Just go that direction. And when they deem necessary, we should see a general movement backwards when so they can get out of combat. A general movement once they kind of get reset up here. This guy, for some reason, is just balls into the wall. You can see there's a general movement for these guys to move back. These guys, for a reason, decided to move forward. And this is probably because those scripts and those functions ran before the waypoint was set. So it looks like they might even be trying to move up into here, I'm guessing. It's definitely not perfect. I'm wondering how I can fix that. Let's look how far these guys are going. Do that for the op4 too. I'm going to tell op4 to... oh, see, nope. Here's the problem. See, I told them just one waypoint to retreat. I needed to give them multiple. So you just give them at least 2 waypoints, like that. And then they'll retreat like normal. I gave them only 1, so they generate more waypoints. So I'll give these guys a couple waypoints to fall back to. And there we go. That's a general shift backwards. That's the problem. So these guys must have caught the script right as I told them to move back, and these guys must have caught it after those waypoints got added. See, now they're starting to fall back. So there's a lot more control than the players had before with Zeus. Now it is a little bit different. I will give them that. Like the AI aren't gonna just run to their death. Even if they're getting shot at, they will stop and try to return fire. You know, I set them to safe, they're going to go back. Well, I'm actually in safe mode right now. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to last very long. But you can see that they're generally falling back. And you can come in here and you can tweak with some of their settings. Like I can put them to aware. Apparently I can put them to safe and they will stay. There we go. Stuff like that. They're not heavily being suppressed. They will swap back to aware, safe, or whatever. And so you can have groups disengage. You can have them retreat. And they went back to combat because they got shot at. But look, they're still falling back. These waypoints haven't been regenerated. They're respecting Zeus. The trick here is if you give them a waypoint, you want them to get there, and you don't regenerate others, give them two. Just like that. You hold down left control. Okay? Or you set it to full. Like I can give these guys one waypoint over here. If I set the waypoint to full, and I set their speed to full, they shouldn't generate any more. And they are generally falling back. I think they're kind of upset because this AI here needs to fall back. And there he dies. Okay. So you get the general gist. The Zeus players get a lot more control. Yeah, you can definitely argue it's not as much as, say, oh, I could definitely say it's not as much as there'd be vanilla AI, but that's more or less kind of one of the downsides of Vcom right now. I definitely agree with that. So that is pretty much, I've been fucking with the waypoints, they're all confused. But you get the vague idea. You get a lot more control over the groups now, for sure. You just do a little bit of mimicking, a little bit of clicking a little bit more maybe, and you'll get them to where you need. It's much better where it used to be. That is for sure. And I also want to say another thing that people used to always complain about is helicopters will not generate waypoints anymore and extra wait commands if they're in the air a certain distance. Now, if they have an extra group inside of them, like if they had a rifle squad inside there, then they would to go drop them off, but that is about it. So there's a lot more control now what Zeus players have over the AI. So that's pretty much, I think I'll leave the video here. It's already 17 minutes. So I think that makes my point. It's much better. It's not perfect, but it's not the destructo machine that I keep hearing about on certain occasions. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.